safety, dropped in the end zone. It's Niehaus. Feldman, that one will get in. That's a good point right there. A shot coming here. That's a goal. Lifted to left center field. Gets off the warning track into the wall. Transition three. Boom. Knocks that one down. And it's a goal. What a beautiful play. Dutton, look what I found over the first. It's a 3-on-1 all the way. Yes. There he goes.
Your home for the Bobcats. KFJB-TV.
Welcome into Rosie's for Bobcat Live here at, again, Wayward Social inside of Rosie's. Last couple times I've hosted, we've done classy Bobcat Live. Tonight it is windy Bobcat Live. It is ferocious out there. I'm going to be spewing a lot of hot air in here, so don't worry, it'll be windy in here as well. But joined by Coach Michael Apple. Coach, last night, 59-51 on the losing end. A lot of things to like, a lot of things to clean up. At the first game of 3 games this week, looking at it, what did the coaching staff, getting a little bit of space from the game, what did you really pull out from last night's game?
Well, I thought our effort was there. I thought we played extremely hard. It's just like you said, there was some things we had to clean up to allow them not to get as many just easy baskets. Just defensively, there were some breakdowns that we had with the ball screen defense, some shuffle screen actions where they're catching it on the block and we're too late to guard them there, and they're getting easy layups there. So just really focusing on cleaning those things up, and some things offensively, obviously, too, where we're getting a little quick. Just be a little more patient, let it work our offense and get easier looks that way. That was the emphasis today at practice, was just cleaning those things up.
And one of the things you talked about, it's one of those two sides of a coin you talk about in that ball screen action. One of the reasons why it was a little bit of a struggle last night, looking at last year, everyone basically same size. Yep. Everybody's 6 foot, 6'2". You switch everything. Last night, having true bigs, now you get into a little bit of a matchup there, and that goes to just roster turnover. Looking last night, Lamar Johnson had 5, Jacob Hayes had 3, Kyle Smith had 30, and those are your 3 players that really had a lot, any action last year. Jacob was throughout the year a rotation player. Lamar was injured, so he didn't really get his feet from underneath him. Kyle, of course, had a really successful sophomore campaign. When you know that you only have a few guys that are bringing any experience, what do you do as a coach when you're looking at that first game where you know there's going to be some glaring growing pains, but keep that big picture alive?
Yeah, you just look at kind of how the game goes and make those corrections and have them watch film. And we got a group that's invested and wants to get better and wants to come every day and learn and improve. And that's what it takes with a lot of guys that are playing their first varsity minutes. So that's just the mindset of we're going to grow and learn every day to get better.
And we've talked a lot about Kyle just because those scoring numbers, they're in your face. They're an easy stat to see, the three-pointers and everything. I thought he did some nice things later on off the bounce, scoring in different ways, giving the ball up to get it back. Yeah. But I really like to talk about Lamar Johnson, one of the seniors on the roster. It's really interesting. Lamar's a really good rebounder, but you had him guarding at the guard level. He can guard basically 4 out of the 5 positions. He's not real flashy with anything. He reluctantly had to play point guard up the court one time last night, and you let Drake know that is not who the point guard should be in a very loud way. But what can you say about Lamar Johnson, what he brings to the table?
He's just going to bring consistency with how hard he plays and his effort, and obviously a lot of that has to do with the defensive end and getting stops and rebounding the ball, and he's going to just play his tail off, and you're going to expect that from him every night.
And he just also seems like a great kid.
Unbelievable.
Great
kid. You can coach him hard. He's going to take it. He's going to respond well. He's going to do what it takes each game to try and get us a win.
And when you're looking at a little bit with having some size, that's where Lamar Johnson, and then we mentioned Jacob, where they're kind of in that in-between. Are they going to play post or are they going to play wing? It seems with the bigs, have Jacob Hayes. We'll talk about him, and we'll bring him up here in segment 2. But it seems you've put him more in that wing environment where I know he feels more comfortable. What do you expect from Jacob as he comes into that junior year?
Yeah, Jacob, we emphasized today with him, just we have to consistently play harder.
Yeah.
And that's both sides of the floor, and that's something we just got to continue to do. And it's whether we're running the floor in transition or if we're on defense, being ready when they come down in the right spots and being in those right spots and getting there sooner. And he's capable of doing that. And he's another kid. He's extremely coachable. We're going to coach him up. And we have no doubt that he's going to be able to do it. And it's just about that consistency of how hard we play, making the right reads, understanding time and score, understanding when that's a good shot and when we want you to take that. Those are the things we're working on, not with just Jacob, but with our whole team right now. And that's even Kyle. I mean, there was times last night he shot it way too quick. He probably took, 7, maybe even 8, shots we would rather not had him take. He could have took that with – under 10 seconds on the clock easy.
Yeah. And I do have to ask, does Jacob have the best mustache on the team? Because that mustache it's a strong game.
I don't know if anyone else has a mustache.
Well, why compete when you have greatness already there
I don't know
if you can't
Adam
win?
Boone can grow one yet. Hunter Four as a freshman probably has the nicest mustache in our program.
I love it.
I don't know. It's between Jacob and Hunter,
We'll have to watch that matchup continue to grow, both literally and figuratively. One thing you look at is those bigs. And I thought last night we have seen Will Swartz play kind of throughout JV ball, freshman ball. Big kid. I thought last night, we talked a little bit about in postgame, he gave you a lot of hustle minutes, I thought. And you look at Adam Boone and Will Swartz are kind of in that same position. They're seniors that are going to get minutes this year that haven't gotten minutes outside of that JV. What does it say about them to continue to stick it out and not just be on the team, but be ready to contribute when their number's called?
Yeah, it's great, and they're going to continue to get better and better and get more confident as the season goes on. And they both understand, just kind of depending on the game and depending on the matchups, they might play quite a bit, and they might not play at all, and they're going to keep their minds right and be ready to go. Both Will and Boone. Boone was there, one of the first ones there yesterday for shoot around, and he's got his headphones on, he's getting up shots, and he's you can tell he's locked in, and he played maybe 5 minutes. Yeah. And he's not going to complain about it. He's going to be ready to go, the next time we need him. And you have to have guys like that are bought in and understand that, that's going to change from each game, but they're going to be ready to go.
And then you look at both Arian Hancock. You could tell last night the kid's skilled. He's all the things. He does have you can see the touch. You can see that, but you could also see he just had not played at that level. And Charlie Fry being your first game, that's a tough one. I told you off air last night, but I was like, if a high school senior has ever intimidated me, it was Charlie Fry last night. I was like, that was the most intense human being with a permed mullet that I had ever seen in my life.
He gave out some shouts every now and then, and he was something else. But with Arian, it's just that experience of playing and understanding some things where he hasn't played in a high school basketball, so he just doesn't have a lot of that experience of understanding some of the things defensively and the things you look at offensively, where to be on the floor, what read you need to make on some of those screens, where you could slip to the rim and be open. Some of those things he's learning, and it's just like we said with all of them, they're all we have a lot of inexperience, so it's just learning those things and being able to put it on the floor next time we play.
And you look at then the sophomores coming up I thought Jamison Niehaus did a really nice job off the bench, but a name you said immediately after last year, watching freshman games before varsity games, there was one person that just jumps off the court at you, and that's Drake Gersma. You can see you can tell in basketball, even in a warm-up, if someone has a little bit different wiggle to them, has a little bit different way that they carry themselves. And he's coming in to a point guard position where I think in your tenure and even at the end of Scott Smith's tenure is kind of been the bread and butter of the Bobcats. You go Jacob Smith, you get Armani Thomas, you get Trey Brooks, and now it's Drake Gersma. He did a lot of good things last night. What can you say about what he did? He did have some turnovers, but he did a lot of everything last night. What can you say about his first bite at the apple, so to speak?
Drake did a very nice job, and he's only going to continue to get better too, with the experience at playing at varsity level. But he's a guy, watching him as a freshman, we knew he was going to be kind of that next guy, and we had conversations with him in the off season, and he's a guy that works extremely hard at it. He takes a lot of pride in getting better and works at it every day, and we're excited for him, and we're excited for him to continue to get better and better. And in his first varsity game, he had 9 points, 5 assists, 2 or 3 steals there, where he made some great reads. So he's going to continue to get better and better, and we're excited. We're excited for him to be at the point and kind of run our offense and be the guy in control, really, in what we do.
And looking forward to tomorrow night. First week, you always get 3 games, so if at first you don't succeed, just try again. Last year, you should have nothing but really a lot of bullet board material. I thought last year, 59-33 loss to Newton. It started bad and got worse kind of situation. I don't think that 26-point spread was the true difference of the quality of the teams. It was that night. It seemed nothing went right. What do you anticipate tomorrow night going in and going into Newton, where there has been some good games down in Newton? What do you anticipate?
Well, they're going to be physical. They're going to be strong and physical, and we got to match that and be in position to sometimes help if we got a guy that's a little bit stronger that wants to try and drive it, and that's what they're going to try and do. They're going to try and swing that ball and then drive it right at us, and we have to be ready to defend that and use a couple guys if we need to, and just be really sound defensively. And offensively, we got to cut hard, set good screens, be patient, and take what they give us. Last year we got into kind of a situation where we had a hard time scoring it there, and they got up on us early, and we just could never come back. So be patient, take what they give us, and try and jump on them early. That will help, obviously, and it all starts with just defense and getting stops.
And again, that game is tomorrow night. Lots of activity. I know wrestling's tomorrow night as well. We will have that on KFJB-TV. We'll have some bonus girls coverage start at 7, and then we will bring you Bobcats basketball. It's my wife's birthday, so I'm going to sneak watching it on my phone, as Brandon calls it, tomorrow night. But good luck tomorrow night. Bobcats over Cardinals. You heard it here first. Thank you, Coach Apple. When we come back, we will be with junior, we'll call him a guard, Jacob Hayes, as we talk Bobcats basketball.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social for date night, family fun, or the company party with plenty of space for everyone. Visit Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to start planning your group outing at Wayward Social, the place for fun.
You planned and saved for your child to go to college, but medical school after graduation was a surprise. A happy, expensive surprise. Wells Fargo Advisors can help. For more than 125 years, we've created wealth management and investment strategies aimed at achieving our clients' personal financial goals. When opportunities surprise you, turn to Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far.
Wells Fargo Advisors is located at 14 East South Ridge Road in Marshalltown. Call them at 641-752-5401. They're a member SIPC.
Welcome back into Rosie's at Wayward Social. We've got great deals out here tonight. There's $2 off of large pizza. Come in here for Bobcat Live. Be able to listen and participate while getting great food. I'm joined by Jacob Hayes, junior guard. Jacob, you've gone from last year, you had a really interesting role from the fact of you were on varsity in that rotation, but then later in the season you also got some run at JV from not being a role player but kind of being the guy with the ball in your hand quite a bit. This year you're kind of playing a little bit in between. Can you discuss a little bit about your role and how it's changed from your sophomore to junior year?
Yeah, so sophomore year, I was kind of the guy that would just come in, maybe shoot the ball a couple times, play some defense, and then go back out, just kind of when guys were tired. So this year it's kind of shifted to where I'm the guy that's going to come in, I'm going to shoot a decent amount. I'm going to have to play a lot of defense, rebound, guard different sizes, all different positions, stuff like that. So it's just been a big change. But
yeah, and you look at that, and for many, they may ask, well, does it matter if you come off the bench, or does it matter if your name is called and you get out and you're ready for the tip? Do you have a preference between, do you like watching the game go a little bit before you hop in, or do you want to be right out there at tip?
I do not want to watch the game right at the start. I would much rather start.
Yeah, that's the only answer until you get an NBA six-man under your belt, and then you can say that. But yeah, it's just right out there. And the fact is, you get to be a part of the game. It's not the, hey, 45 seconds. What I respect about you is shooters recognize shooters, and you will put up a shot quickly. I love that. But when you have 45 seconds and you're trying to see if you can get one up versus, hey, you're going to get in the rhythm of the game, that can come to you. So when you look at the roster, when you're looking at that starting lineup, you have Drake Gersma, you have Kyle Smith, you have yourself, Arian Hancock, and then you have Lamar Johnson. And versus last year, you're looking much more interchangeable parts. Tallest kid, which is close again this year, but Kyle Smith is not a post. He's definitely a guard. What do you think when you look at the team? What is kind of the strengths that the Bobcats have this year? Maybe not compared to last year, but how have you changed and grown as a team?
From last year, I would definitely say we have a lot better chemistry. Last year is kind of a bunch of different people trying to do their own thing sometimes, not a lot of people working together. So this year we're all kind of on the same page most of the time. We're all working together. We play a lot harder, I feel like, than we did last year. Last year, we would get down and then we would just kind of go on stretches where we would just not put in any effort at all, which, sometimes that's still a struggle for us, but we're able to kind of get out quicker.
And when you look at that, last night we saw maybe more substitutions from the Bobcats. We mentioned it on air is because often it can be a pretty tight bench. Sometimes that's because of just effectiveness. Often it's injury as the season goes on, or just really a trust factor. Last night we saw a lot of players come in. What do you think, going from being a person who had not been on a varsity floor, getting a few minutes, and now you're looked at one of really the three with experience, what do you think with those younger guys, those sophomore guys coming up, or even the seniors that haven't played before? What do you think your role is just as an example or as a leader on the team?
Definitely, I feel like that starts in practice. You got to come in, you got to talk right away. First day of practice, you got to come in talking, you got to come in kind of helping people explain to them kind of what to do in certain situations because they might not know.
Yeah.
And then just during the game, kind of being extra vocal with them and kind of helping them know where to go and things like that.
And we already talked about Newton a little bit with Coach, but for you, going back to when you match up against a team that you are roughly as good as, and you get your doors blown off, that doesn't just go away. When you look back to look forward to tomorrow night, what do you think the key is for you guys to come out on top tomorrow at Newton?
We got to come out fast. We can't start out the game not playing hard, and then if we miss our shots, we can't just let them get easy looks right away. Coming back in transition, coming back getting open threes and things like that.
And as we look at that again tomorrow night, Bobcats Newton, never can go wrong with that rivalry. Friday night you have Des Moines East. Looking at a baller, I'm thinking your first week that you get 3 games and 2 practices. You probably love that ratio, don't you, as a ball player?
Yeah, I like playing the game more than practices. I'll say that. So.
Yeah, you get 3 games. You get a lot. Let's good luck tomorrow night and Friday night. Let's hopefully next time we come back, we've got some wins under our belt and able to see all that team gelled. Thank you to Jacob Hayes. When we come back, we're going to stay on the hard court, but we're going to flip it to Coach Brian Murphy of your 2-0 Marshalltown Bobcat girls team. You're watching Bobcat Live here at Rosie's at Wayward.
At Sports Plus Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy Center, we customize each patient's treatment plan to their individual needs. What does that mean? It means that not every back or knee problem is treated the same, and that your program will be unique and designed especially for your needs or problem. This improves how quickly you will return to work or sports. The Sports Plus staff is encouraging and takes pride in your successful recovery. This is just one more reason why champions choose Sports Plus Physical Therapy as their favorite place to rehabilitate and train.
McGregor's Furniture and Mattress is your local furniture store in Marshalltown, and they are proud to support Marshalltown Bobcat Athletics. If you want to kick off football season in a new recliner, pass the bread at a beautiful new dining set, or lay up on a luxurious sectional sofa, McGregor's is the right play. Score the mattress of your dreams with an assist from their friendly and knowledgeable staff. You'll be the household MVP when you bring home the winning selections at McGregor's Furniture and Mattress, downtown Marshalltown. Open 7 days a week.
Welcome back into Bobcat Live here at Rosie's inside of Wayward. We've got a great deal for you tonight. There's $2 off a large one-topping pizza here at Wayward. Plus, you get to see Coach Brian Murphy in person. If that's not a good enough deal for you, I don't know what is. You're sitting at 2-0. You can't have a better record. How does that feel?
It's pretty good. Like you said, you can't have a better record. We could definitely improve upon some things, right. But at the end of the day, we like where we are.
And you look at that, I haven't thought from really the maturation from last week at South Tama, that game before Thanksgiving, that's always an interesting time to put a game on, right? You have a game, then you go on break. Really thought the girls did a tremendous job finishing late on that. Had 22 turnovers. Early, they were much better late, and then last night, cut that to 16 turnovers last year, averaging over 30 turnovers. So you're seeing that happen. What have you seen as the most important thing for that drastic cut in turnovers so far?
I think overall you're just seeing the overall maturity level of our team where, a lot of these girls that were playing varsity as freshmen, they got thrown into the fire. And it's funny how sometimes, obviously we did a lot in the off season, but sometimes it just seems like cognitively things just kind of slow down a little bit. And, we've got a lot of girls that we trust the ball in their hands, and that makes it easy collectively where even if we are sliding a freshman in there like Morgan, she's surrounded by stability, and it just makes it easier where everybody's not figuring it out at the same time. There's a lot of stability in place, and we don't have to try to figure things out on the fly as often.
I'd like to start. We're going to flip. We're going to start with the freshmen. You mentioned a lot of the current players played heavy minutes as a freshman. This year it's Morgan Hildebrand. And one thing I've been impressed with is the game does not seem too fast for her. And that is usually when you see people out there for the first time, the game just feels too fast. What can you point to kind of her being able to be a plug and play? We've talked about this quite a bit sadly with Amara's injury, not being able to have those point guard minutes there. Morgan coming in as another guard. What is it about her that allows her to come in ready to compete as a freshman?
Yeah, I think there's a few things working in her favor. So, number one, she, even going back to middle school years and elementary, she played up quite a bit on travel ball. So, she's not a stranger to these girls, right? They've played together, and that familiarity helps quite a bit. And I think the other thing with her, she spends a lot of time in the gym where she was in all season. We had a couple of summer league games. We went to her tournament this summer. She was at every single one. So, she's had the ability to acclimate a little bit. And I think the other thing, again, I just want to reiterate, everything's a lot easier when you're surrounded by stability. And you can, if you watch on the floor during timeouts, there's almost one or two girls with an arm around her kind of saying, hey, next time do this, or next time look for this action. And that's not necessarily something that the current upperclassmen had when they were younger, and it's really good to see them paying it forward a little bit.
Yeah, they've really started to build that, and for Morgan to be able to knock down 2 big threes in big moments last night points to another. Last night, 6 of 17 from threes. Last year shooting about 13%. This year shooting it better. They were all at big moments. Kinsley Bowie shot it with a ton of confidence last night. Morgan came in. But looking at that stability, I thought Millie Heitman has played from that point guard position. The only thing I would say to Millie is shoot it more. I wish she was more of a willing shooter. She let some wide open three-pointers stay in her back pocket. When she finally shot it, nothing but net. So, Millie, I know you're in there. Your hoodie may be up, but you better shoot that basketball. That's all we got to say. That's what we do here on Bobcat Live. We yell at the players for back here to shoot more. But looking at Millie being able to do that, Kinsley really from the defensive end, you mentioned that last night. Ellie Hughes averaging 8.5 rebounds a game. Really excited to talk to Sid. She just is playing with a higher level of intensity and intentionality. And then, of course, Frankie able to be back there. Fouls have been a little bit of an issue so far. So when you're looking ahead, Newton last year, 43-33 loss, but that was a much tighter contest. Going down there, what are you looking for from your Bobcats?
I mean, number one, we kind of know what their blueprint is going to be against us. We know they're going to try to extend the floor, try to speed us up a little bit. And so certainly that's something we know going in, right? And that's always the challenge, is embracing that and being mentally tough enough to not allow that to happen. And so that was kind of our focus tonight. You know, it's always tough coming, you got a game, quick practice, a couple games coming up. So we did some walkthrough, talk through it. But, again, it is the nice thing about having that mature team is you've got that trust that they're going to be able to translate it. And, the other thing is we do have a size advantage against them. We know that. We were able to take advantage of that last year. The biggest thing that hurt us last year is the foul disparity where we had a lot of girls on the bench. They outshot us about 34 to about 17 from the free throw line. So certainly those are things we hope to address this time around. And, the good news is they also play Tuesday. So, we're both kind of coming in there. And if we take care of the ball and are deliberate on offense, we like our chances.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you've seen, even with the size discrepancy. It's both a benefit, but I also feel, especially when it's concerned with Frankie, is I feel like there's some phantom calls that she gets just because she's bigger than, she's taller than. So if it's straight up and if people bounce off her, she gets into foul trouble that really isn't a foul. Where do you see kind of her maturation? Is she frustrated right now with some of the fouls, not getting to play a lot of minutes simply because she's sitting next to you, which I assume is a great seat, but she'd much rather be in the middle of the floor directing traffic?
Yeah, and I think, and we've talked with her about this a lot. I think as a freshman, you're kind of allowing some things to go and kind of trying to simplify things. At the end of the day, defensively, there's high-risk plays and low-risk plays. And so one of the things we're trying to do is to minimize the high-risk plays where, the one-handed blocks that, are clean on top, they look great. But if that one hand is up, often the other hand's down below. And almost every official we talk to, that's what they're telling us, whether it's right or wrong, is it's the other hand underneath. And so that's, we're talking about walling up and being disciplined that way. And that's one of those next-level habits of you start learning that as an underclassman, so it's habit by the time you're a senior. So that's certainly something we're going to continue to stress. And if she wants to stay on the floor, that's going to be the next step.
And last night in the game, Kinsley turned her ankle pretty good. Do you expect her to be able to play this week, or is it not looking good?
Yeah, it depends who you talk to. Yeah,
okay.
Kins is adamant that she's playing. We'll see how it looks and feels tomorrow. It's that's one of those ones as a coach where this is a really tough time to be injured because we still have another 18 games left on the schedule. So we're we'll take it 1 hour, 1 minute at a time, and we'll make a decision that is best for the team, but also for her.
And I would be amiss without saying that I've said it a lot. I know she smiles a little bit, and a little bit of the layup wasn't her favorite thing, but I thought Georgia Jansen's been playing. She's been playing some of the best defense, on-ball defense, quick first step. I thought she's made another step. When you're looking at it as that bench, if Kinsley plays, you still go that 7. She doesn't play, you've got to move some stuff around. But what can you say so far about that bench play between both Georgia and Morgan?
Yeah, it's something you'll hear coaches say where, often it feels like you've got 7 starters, and that's kind of where we're at, where really, we have a very versatile group of girls where, we're comfortable pushing Georgia out to the perimeter if we need to, and that's not something you necessarily do with all players, and so we really like the versatility. We sometimes joke about the fact that, we're discriminating because we're not starting our lefties, bringing them both off the bench, but overall, it's a great group of girls. Their chemistry's worked really well together, and we feel real comfortable with all of them, the way they're playing together on the floor.
Everybody needs a good lefty in the bullpen, for sure, and it's not bad to have two. Well, you've got a couple big games, so good luck tomorrow night at Newton. Be on the call for East Friday night. Again, thank you to Coach Brian Murphy of your 2-0 Bobcats. When we come back, we'll be talking to Sydney Capeyu.
Your future starts now. Marshalltown Community College is now enrolling for spring classes. Whether you're pursuing a degree, certificate, transferring to a 4-year university, or just looking for a few credits, MCC has the program for you. Flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and expert faculty. Do you have a busy schedule but still looking to continue your education? Check out the online programs MCC has to offer. Earn your degree completely online. It's all here at MCC. Enroll today and start your journey to success. Visit mcc.iavalley.edu.
Welcome back into Bobcat Live here at Rosie's at Wayward. Again, large single topping pizzas are $2 off tonight. We got to do some business first. If you can see this here, it says player of the game, Sydney Capeyu, 15 points, 8 rebounds, and that got her $25 to Opa Grill. So we thought we'd just slide that into you right there. But yeah, last week's player of the game. And one thing that we have seen is you have a really unique skill set. So one of my favorite players of all time is Lamar Odom. He's a left-hander, 6'10", could kind of do everything, wasn't going to lead the team in scoring or anything like that. I feel like you have a little bit of that Swiss Army knife. We've seen you bring the ball up. We've seen you rebound. We've seen you be able to knock down shots, be able to pass. When we've talked before, you said you modeled your game a little bit about after your brother Drake a little bit, who of course was a really good shooter. But as you look this year, we have seen a level of intentionality from you and aggressiveness. What is it that has caused you to take that step up of just aggressiveness with your shot and just overall?
Honestly, just years of being on varsity.
Yep.
Like my freshman year, I was absolutely terrified. There's no way you can make me shoot a three. No way you can make me post up. But now this year, it's like I'm a junior. I need to step it up. I have to improve every single year, and that's what I feel like I'm doing.
And looking on the court, and one thing you're looking at the team, every team has an array of personalities, and I always like players that are willing to put their nose, willing to talk a little bit. We talked a little bit off air. I had some technicals growing up. I had a few fights growing up. I was a little bit of a hothead, but you do it in a much better way than I did. I will just say that. But you're not afraid to mix it up a little bit on the court. Where does that competitive fire come for you?
Honestly, just growing up with about 8 siblings.
Okay,
being
that'll
the
do
second
it.
to youngest, having to defend myself, honestly, just kind of comes with it.
Yeah, I'm middle of 7, so I think you might be right on that one. Just making sure they know I exist. But looking at it last night, you didn't shoot the ball as well as I think you would want to. But you kept going at it. You kept doing. And what we've seen in the last couple years, if you didn't hit your first couple shots, there was a chance you weren't going to shoot again. And so I think even that is, even when you're not making, to be able to be aggressive. But what was really great looking at you all last night is you gave up 9 points in the second half. What would you say about that defensive intensity in that second half?
I said we definitely moved our feet a lot more. We didn't, we chopped our feet. We got low on the closeout. We didn't just let them fly by us. And our help defense was a lot better. And
so you had a practice tonight, then you got 2 games. Des Moines East were able to handle last year. That's Friday's game. Thursday, you've got Newton, and that's that physicality. You'll have a physical advantage. They extended a lead late last year, won by 10. What is your personal approach to tomorrow night, trying to get that Newton win in your last shot of beating Newton?
Just knowing that they're a smaller team. Half the girls on their team are smaller than me, and that is an advantage to just go to the rim.
So, just right there and be able to attack. And as Coach said it earlier, and I think this may be the biggest point of maturation for the girls team this year, you guys are quick with decisions, you attack quicker, and being able to recognize that mismatch and attacking it early. It's been really fun to watch the first couple games, and Bobcats have a great shot tomorrow night, try to be 3-0 as they go into Des Moines East. Good luck tomorrow night. Great job last week being player of the game, and that has been junior forward Sydney Capeyu. When we come back, we're going to switch it to wrestling, and no, I'm not wearing a singlet.
Do you know Lennox Employees Credit Union makes loans for recreational vehicles? So if you'd rather be enjoying this winter on a snowmobile, the Lennox Employees Credit Union makes loans for them. Plus ATVs, jet skis, boats, and trailers. The loan process is so easy. Loans for used vehicles like campers and snowmobiles are available too. Get rate info at lennoxecu.com. Fun things up with help from Lennox Employees Credit Union. 1004 East Main Street in Marshalltown. Member NCUA.
At Greg Young Automotive, we go the extra mile for our customers across Iowa. Why do customers choose us and keep coming back? Because our commitment to exceptional service and satisfaction never wavers. With our extensive network of dealerships throughout Iowa, we leverage unbeatable pricing and offer a better inventory selection than other dealerships. Visit any of our 6 locations across the state and experience the Greg Young difference, where we'll go the extra mile for you.
Welcome back into Bobcat Live. Here at Rosie's inside of Wayward, we move from the hardwood and we roll out the mats, and here we are with Bobcat boys wrestling coach only, Luke Cross. You wore a couple hats this year, or last couple years. This year, you're more focused on the guys' team. I'm excited to get to interview Isaiah Cox here in just a few minutes on the girls' side. But looking at being able to put sole focus there, you have a couple returning state qualifiers. Xavier Anderson is back, which is great, and I know Nick Wise did a lot of wrestling over the summer, and then we get to talk to Lucas right after that. As we're coming into this year, what's your sense for your wrestling squad?
Well, I'm particularly pleased with the well-roundedness of our whole team. I think this is my 4th year here, and this is the most solid group we've had since I've been here. From the bottom weights to the top weights, there's really no soft spots, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
And looking at the roster, you have over your tenure, there has been a lot of interest and engagement in that wrestling room, and this year is no different. Quite a few kids out. But looking at, we talked about Lucas Bant's state qualifier last year, Xavier Anderson, 2-time state qualifier. Nick is primed to be down there this year. What weight classes are you still seeing a lot of competition to figure out who's going to be the go person at the varsity mat?
Well, right now we have 126 is going to be a revolving door, I think, for a little while. We have a lot of inexperienced and younger guys. If I were to say that there's one weight class that we need to get a little better at is that one there. And we have some young kids that are just scrappy as all get out, and they could grow into that position. But it might be a rough go for a little bit for that weight class.
And that weight class is open because Lucas moved up to the 138. Am I correct?
Oh, he moved up just one weight class. So
just one. Okay.
Yeah, 132.
132. Okay.
So yeah, everyone kind of has shifted up a little bit. for the time being, we'll see what the season brings and if there's any desire to go back down. But right now, I'm happy with where we're at.
So they put the work in the weight room. They put the work in the wrestling room. They put the work in over the summer. And then tomorrow night, you get the little Cyclones. When you're going into tomorrow's meet, what's your mindset? What are you speaking into your team?
Well, Ames is a rival school, and I've had to learn this because I'm not from the state of Iowa, so I had to learn that we don't like them. But
yes, we do not.
Yeah, so I learned that. So yeah, knowing that as the first meet of the year, it's always going to be a highly competitive one. And on paper, this is probably Ames' best team that they've had since I've been here as well. They're currently ranked 9th in the state, and they've got a handful of high-quality wrestlers, including a move-in from California who's the #1 ranked guy in the weight class.
So you look at that, a top 10, and you can always look at that a couple ways, and knowing some of the guys on the wrestling team, I think you can have the mindset, oh my goodness, #9, I don't know about that. Or you can have, hey, this is going to be a great spot. If we take down #9, they've got to recognize who we are and kind of put that, mark that X. How do you feel the mentality of the Marshalltown team is? Do you see if they're going to back down from anybody, or are they going to meet them right in the middle?
We don't go into duels thinking, oh boy, we got these guys. They're going to find out tomorrow that they have us. And we're going to put our name on the map, and you'll see.
Yeah. And we look at it, just because we've got Lucas up next, he's moved up to that 132, what do you really see for Lucas, both in leadership, just in the room, and on the mat?
So Lucas is definitely the quiet leadership type of guy. He puts his nose down and he just goes to work, and there's no questions about whether or not he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He always is, whether it's in the classroom or on the wrestling mat. It's never have to worry about that guy. He's amazing.
It's always a nice thing where you can pour into a young guy and then also not have to worry about how the grades are doing.
Yeah, and it's really nice when you can have him step onto the mat and just know that there's a really good chance that he's going to get his hand raised.
Yeah,
that's a lot of the pressure's taken off of you as a coach.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk to Lucas Bantz, who we just talked about. Marshalltown tomorrow night. Get out to home duel tomorrow night. Get out to the Roundhouse. Watch the Bobcats take down Ames. Take down #9.
Let's do it.
Sounds good. Meet them in the center of the mat and watch the Bobcats get their hand raised. We'll come back with the 132-pounder, Lucas Bantz.
Do you know Lennox Employees Credit Union makes loans for recreational vehicles? So if you'd rather be enjoying this winter on a snowmobile, the Lennox Employees Credit Union makes loans for them. Plus ATVs, jet skis, boats, and trailers. The loan process is so easy. Loans for used vehicles like campers and snowmobiles are available too. Get rate info at lennoxecu.com. Fun things up with help from Lennox Employees Credit Union. 1004 East Main Street in Marshalltown. Member NCUA.
At Greg Young Automotive, we go the extra mile for our customers across Iowa. Why do customers choose us and keep coming back? Because our commitment to exceptional service and satisfaction never wavers. With our extensive network of dealerships throughout Iowa, we leverage unbeatable pricing and offer a better inventory selection than other dealerships. Visit any of our 6 locations across the state and experience the Greg Young difference, where we'll go the extra mile for you.
Welcome back into Rosie's for Bobcat Live. Here I am with the 132-pounder state qualifier last year at 126, Lucas Bantz. Lucas, 132 pounds doesn't sound like a lot. I had a lot of wrestling friends growing up, and I created a rule after being taken down many times: never mess with a wrestler, no matter what size they are. So, Lucas, last year, what did getting that state qualifier, getting down to the well, what do you take away from that experience?
I mean, I think I'm going to be a bit more prepared going back there this year because, I mean, kind of had a bit of nerves there a little bit, but I think this year should be a lot more fun, and it definitely boosted my confidence for me.
And that's one thing they often talk about with young teams or young competitors. The first year, just getting there, get all that out, and then that next year, it's almost like the first time you're like, okay, now I know what to expect. I kind of know where you get ready. I don't have to – I know what it is to get warmed up and have all those mats in front of you, all those cameras and everything. So when you look, what did your summer look like from the moment you bowed out at the state meet to the beginning of this season? What did your summer look like getting prepared?
So I took like a week off, and then we basically went straight into freestyle wrestling, which is – really the Olympic style wrestling, and wrestled a couple tournaments. I went to a national tournament down in Kansas, so that was a fun experience and placed third there.
So when you go down to Kansas, you place third, you've come off a state qualifier. What does that do from a confidence level with you?
I feel like I wrestled a lot better.
Yep.
Like I just was a lot more tougher and just really wrestled hard.
Yeah, and wrestling is, again, one of those very interesting sports. It's a little bit like cross country in the sense that it is a team sport, very much a team sport, but it's also very much an individual sport. So how do you balance the two as kind of a leader? Coach Cross said a quieter leader. How do you balance that team versus you look across the mat at 132 and you have to beat 132?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of selfish, but I mean, you focus on yourself first, make sure you win, and then you go on and cheer for everybody else. So
if you can put those shoulders on the mat and put 6 points up on the board for your team, that's a pretty good team player right there. So as you look at some of the wrestlers we may not know about, I know Nick Wise put in he's a name that we know. We know Xavier Anderson. We definitely know that name. Who is going to wrestle tomorrow night that you think Bobcat fans should be aware of that maybe we aren't?
I think Cager Kramer's a good name. Colby Cross is a good name.
Okay.
I think those two, you're going to see a lot out of those two.
Okay, you heard it right here. He's the prognosticator. Lots of opportunity. I think it would be pretty cool as a senior if you can take down Ames in a duel. That'd be a pretty good way to start off your senior year.
Yeah, I'm excited. It should be a good night.
And again, that's tomorrow night. Come out, watch the Bobcats as they take on the Ames Little Cyclones. This has been Lucas Bant, state qualifier at 126, wrestling up at 132. When we come back, we will have the wonderful opportunities to speak to Coach Isaiah Cox, the first ever women's wrestling head coach in Marshalltown Bobcat history. You're watching Bobcat Live here at Wayward Social.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social for date night, family fun, or the company party with plenty of space for everyone. Visit Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to start planning your group outing at Wayward Social, the place for fun.
Sportsmanship starts with us.
As a student athlete, I need to model good behavior and represent my school appropriately.
That means respecting my teammates, coaches, opponents, the officials, and fans.
If I do that, so will others, and being a good sport becomes a way of life.
To all of Iowa's student athletes getting ready to compete, remember, sportsmanship starts with us.
Welcome into Bobcat Live. Here we're sitting inside of Rosie's. $2 off large one-topping pizzas. Here we are with Coach Isaiah Cox. A lot of accolades in your rear view. 149 wins at Ottumwa, which is the school record. Two-time All-American at Iowa Lakes. Then went on to coach at Wartburg. Wrestle.
Yeah.
Maybe coach in the future. Long in the future. Not coach. He's But maybe the coolest honor from my perspective is the first ever women's wrestling coach at Marshalltown High School.
Yeah.
So what was it about this position? Because you had this role down in Ottumwa. What was it about this position that really jumped out to you?
Just a different opportunity, different place to go. One thing that stuck out to me when I came and visited Marshalltown, all the girls that wrestled last year, they were waiting at the doors. They were like so excited. Excited. And like I was like, oh yeah, this is where I want to be. I want to be where people want wrestling. People, they're ready to go. So that was like a big thing for me. I really love that.
So you're not having to drag girls into the wrestling room. They meet you there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
They want to be there, so that's good.
And you're coming on the heels, and it was really cool to see what Gigi did, getting her ticket stamped to state, being the first ever Bobcat to make it to women's state wrestling. She was on Bobcat Live last year. I just asked her, like, you made history. Like this is a thing. Like, you are the first ever. So that being one of your building blocks of coming in, who are some other names as you've kicked off this season that you're really leaning on in your first year in Marshalltown?
One girl, she's going to be talking here tonight, Ava.
Yeah.
Man, a leader. Another person, Nancy. Another leader, Addison. Another leader. All the girls that were here last year, and then we have some freshmen that I'm excited for. Like all those guys, they've been here, they've been doing the right things, and they want to be good. They want to be, learn what wrestling is all about.
And that's a really cool place to be on the front side of a sport, is that hunger for it. And you use the word leader quite a bit. So in your mind, Isaiah, how do you define a leader?
A person that, they might not be starting.
Right.
They might not feel 100%. A person that's banged up. A person, they come there and they just do what they need to do. They put their nose down and they just run through whatever it is, That's what somebody, it's kind of crazy. It's that dog mentality.
Right.
So that's the type of person that I want to be my leader.
And looking at you also are on the coaching side with football, and I also feel like you and Kyle Smith are like the resident hype man on that sideline. Things are going well if you guys are jumping up together.
Yep.
But when you look at in college, my basketball coach then transferred and coached women's basketball. They won a national title at the National Christian College level. And just talking to him afterwards, he goes, I should have made the switch way quicker. Women are so much better to coach than men.
Yeah.
What has been I took it as an affront, and then I agreed with him by the end of the conversation. But you're looking at it, you're coming in coaching at the women level. What is it about coaching women that really jump out to you that you see in your coaching background and in your future?
One thing I can say is that girls want to be treated just like the boys.
Yep.
They want you to coach them as hard as you would coach the boys. And they like that. They respond to that. If you go in there and they're trying to be, they're going to be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they won't get that experience of, what wrestling's all about. Being hard, having to go up in there and just, battle, fight for what you need to fight for. And that's sometimes in life too. So just, that was the biggest thing. Like, they're ready. They want to do this. They want to show you that I can do this too, So that's a big thing that I've seen.
And that seems to be the definition of a dog mentality, right?
Yeah.
And you look at you've had some good success so far.
Yes.
And looking at, I'd like you to define I played basketball. I didn't wrestle. I saw them walk out of the wrestling room, and they looked like they had been through some stuff. So I was like, I never want to go into that room.
Yeah.
But looking at that, you had a very interesting win. That 43-42 where it went down. Can you explain kind of the scoring rules? Because you split the amount of wins. It was equal, but you were awarded an extra point.
So when, say we have, it was tied up at the end of the duel, it goes to like criteria, who had the most pins.
Okay.
Who had the most forfeits. So they had the most force feds, we had more wrestlers, so we were able to take that home, you know? So,
yeah, and that's and you know, you can look at it why it's so important, especially in an emerging sport, that you can fill those weight classes. And just showing up is half the battle. And in that case, it was not only half the battle, it was the final point that got the win.
Yeah, you know, you never know what can happen, you know. Having all these girls come out for wrestling, that's the biggest battle ever. Yeah. You know, some teams, they're having a hard time trying to fill up a team.
Right.
We're not.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So, you know, it's all to those girls though. They come out there and they're working hard every day. Getting up at 6:30 in the morning to go on runs. That stuff is tough. Yeah. You know? I don't know some adults that would do that type of stuff. So
especially as the weather starts to get like this, you're putting on face gaiters, you're putting on a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we get Ava. Ava's coming up right after this. Give me a sentence on Ava that just in her leadership this year.
Dog. She's a dog.
Love it.
She's a dog. Beast.
And Ava's looking at it, you know. I don't know if you could just call people dogs and beasts, but when it's done with love, she seems to be smiling and happy.
Because she knows she works hard.
That's
man.
right.
Every day she works hard. I can't ask for nobody else to be like her. She's awesome.
That's a badge of pride. And thank you very much, Isaiah Cox. For my money, you've been a great addition to the Marshalltown community, to both football and especially women's wrestling. When we come back, we will have Ava Kusero, women's wrestler, to cap off our show. You're watching Bobcat Live here at Wayward Social inside of Rosie's.
Marshalltown Community School District thanks you for voting yes in the referendum to move forward with the plan to remodel and modernize Miller Middle School and the enhancement to Franklin Field. We will continue to provide updates about this exciting project as they move forward in the process. There is so much positive energy for the future. Thanks for saying yes to our students and yes for Marshalltown. To learn more, go to marshalltowncsdfuture.com. Some say life is like a road trip. Is it a coincidence Scooter's Coffee is a drive-thru? We don't think so. Whether you need a coffee while you enjoy the view, to just get you through the long stretch, or to refuel between stops, Scooter's Coffee is there, brewing up delicious coffee, espresso blenders, smoothies, iced drinks, and more, with the convenience of a drive-thru so you can stay on the road and enjoy the ride. So go ahead, scoot on around. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Scooters in Marshalltown.
Welcome inside of Wayward Social. We're sitting here at Rosie's, and we are joined by who Isaiah Cox coined, the dog, Ava Kusero. Ava, first we got to do a shout out to your mom, Lindsay. Thank you so much for stats. Track wrestling was not giving me anything, so I went to the source. I went to a proud mother who knows stats better than that. So far, good 4-2 year. You're coming out strong. I know a little bit. You're wrestling a little bit with an injury, but still getting it out there. I'd love to know, with women's wrestling being newer and you jumping in, not growing up wrestling, right?
No.
So what was it about wrestling that drew you into the room, onto the mat?
So last year, me and my brother took it as a joke. Hey, let's try it.
Yeah.
And he didn't succeed, and I enjoyed it a lot. The girls are just always pushing each other and keeping each other going, and just the support with them.
I would encourage you from your perspective, Christmas card or whatever, if you could tell your brother in the card, wrestling is where you failed and I succeeded. Love, Ava. I think that's the best way to give a Christmas gift. And then put a gift card or something in there for him. But I think that's best Christmas card ever. So last year, you wrestled well. This year, 4-2. When you're looking at building that culture, what are the big goals for you, both on the mat but also as a leader in the wrestling room?
Just getting the girls going, always wanting them to be there, commit to the sport, and just conditioning, honestly, making sure that we're not getting tired just in the middle of the match or after or at practice. We're not giving up at practice, and keeping each other going, pushing each other, bringing each other with each other if we're not doing so well. So.
And looking at that, you know, Lucas was up here a little bit more of a quiet leader. How would you define kind of your leadership style in the wrestling room? Are you a talker? Are you a yeller maybe even a little bit?
Yeah. If something's going on and I see that someone's not doing something the rest are doing, and I'm on them, I'm wanting them to keep doing what we're doing, because it's not fair for us to be doing something and them not. So.
Yeah, and that's the type of stuff where coaches, you know, you got to coach as hard as possible. And I think every coach of the person will say if fellow teammates are coaching that hard so they don't have to, that is a huge, huge win. So when I'm looking at what kept you on the mat, you're a leader, second year in, what are your personal goals on the mat this year? What do you want to accomplish by the time your senior season is done?
Something I want to do is go to state. I mean, every girl's something, that's something they want to do, but that's my personal goal, is to work hard to get there, to succeed from where I was last year. Last year I did good, but not something I was wanting to end in. But this year, that is my personal goal, is to make it to state. So.
And you look at that, it was interesting. Lucas talked about he made it to state 1 year and he had nerves galore. You came into the sport 1 year and now you're in year 2. Just what have you seen from your skill level that's just jumped in the last 12 months?
I think it's gotten a lot better putting the little pieces together, and it's making a lot more sense. Last year I knew a few things and kept doing the same thing, and this year we're doing something different, and then I put it together, and it is helping quite a bit.
That's fantastic. Well, good luck the rest of the season. Hopefully you get healed up so you can wrestle at 100%. This has been Ava Kusero of the Bobcat Girls Wrestling Team, and this has been Bobcat Live. Thank you so much for watching. Again, tomorrow night we have broadcast start at 7 o'clock down in Newton as the Marshalltown Bobcats take on the Newton Cardinals. And if you're in town, why don't you just head to the Roundhouse, watch Marshalltown Bobcat wrestlers take on the Ames Little Cyclones. Again, this has been Bobcat Live here inside of Wayward at Rosie's. We'll see you tomorrow.